So I had the tremendous pleasure of introducing Administrator Listenby earlier. Today, and right now, I have the opportunity to introduce, the pleasure and honor to introduce a very innovative mayor, Mr. Dr. Robert Garcia, from Long Beach, California, is the perfect fit for today's theme of innovation. I've had the honor of meeting him before, being a California girl myself, and I asked if I could have the privilege of introducing him today. And I know that after you hear him speaking, you will agree with me that he is one of the most forward-thinking, innovative, energetic, dedicated, and passionate mayors that we have in this country. Dr. Robert Garcia is an educator and the 28th mayor of Long Beach. Mayor Garcia is the youngest mayor of any big city in the United States and has taken a leadership role in economic development, education, and investing in technology. Mayor Garcia has been a member of the Public Policy and Communications faculty at the University of Southern California and taught communication studies at both California State University Long Beach and Long Beach City College. His passion for education led him to pursue a doctorate in higher education. Mayor Garcia also holds a master's degree in communication management from the University of Southern California and a bachelor's degree in communication studies from California State University Long Beach. Dr. Garcia served as the vice mayor from 2012 to 2014 and was elected to the city council in 2009. At just 31 years old, he was the youngest person ever elected to the Long Beach City Council. He also served on the California Coastal Commission until taking office as the mayor of Long Beach, California. Robert Garcia was born in Lima, Peru, and immigrated to the United States at age 5 with his family. He was the first person in his family to attend and graduate college. Under his leadership, the city of Long Beach has been a Forum City since 2014. He signed on to My Brother's Keeper Challenge in 2015 and launched the My Brother's Keeper Long Beach Local Action Plan in April 2016. Without further ado, please help me welcome Dr. Mayor Robert Garcia.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. It's really, first of all, I just want to begin by thanking all of you for being here. This is such an important conversation that we're all having over these few days, and the work that all of you do as leaders in our community, as people involved in our prosecuting offices, public safety, our health departments, our folks that are working in social work throughout our community is very, very important. And so I just want to thank all of you for being here and giving of your time and energy to an important cause for our communities, but also for our country. I want to begin also by not letting the moment pass us, to really take a moment and think about the incredible impact that our amazing President of the United States has had on our country and on this conversation. Let's give him a big round of applause. I know, like all of you, I couldn't be more proud to support. I love our president. It's tough. He's got the toughest job in the world. But to be able to have these conversations about social justice and equity are really important. And he has opened that door, I think, in new ways before. And so I want to thank him and really his entire administration. A lot of the leaders of the president's administration, White House folks are here as well, and we want to thank them for their work. Of course, Attorney General Lynch, who I know you all heard from, has been doing great work in this area, as well as, of course, the entire MBK team and Cabinet Secretary Johnson as well. And so to them, thank you for giving us as mayors and us as community leaders really the opportunity to engage and to lead on this issue. So I've got just a few moments and minutes to spend with you this morning, and I wanted to share a few things. I wanted to particularly focus on two areas of the MBK work and I think the social justice work that we all do that are really, really important. One is going to be on that link to education, and the second is the larger idea of workforce development, as well as how we work with people that are making mistakes for that very first time or second time, and how we get them on the right path. But before that, I just want to personally say, I bet a lot of you, like me, are immigrants, or first-generation college students, or grew up in poverty, and so the work for us is also very personal. I tell a lot of people that when I first came to the United States, I was 5 years old. My entire family came to the U.S. like a lot of other immigrant families, for a better life, for opportunity, and to escape a situation back home where there was very little work and, quite frankly, an unsafe situation in some of our countries. And so, like a lot of immigrants, you come here and you make choices based on the environment you're in. And I think about my opportunities growing up. I grew up in an apartment of 8 family members. I don't remember a time where I ever had my own room. I think the only time I had my own room was when I went out to college for the first time. And I think a lot of us grew up in that environment. And so to see this focus on particularly youth, the connection with opportunities and what that leads to, but also the My Brother's Keepers work for me personally is very important, because I had folks in my life, beyond my parents, that chose to make an investment in me through mentorship, through opportunity. When I was in high school, I never had anyone say, hey, you know what, I think you should apply to this university, or I think you should go do this. In fact, most folks in my high school just said, hey, maybe apply to community college, maybe go do that. I took initiative, went to the university, and it was when I was there that people actually invested in me and said, you know what, you're a smart kid, or you know what, you should go and do this or do that. And so mentorship and the work you're all doing is incredibly important. I think it was mentioned earlier that professionally I'm an educator. So I'm a big believer that the single most important thing that we can provide our young people is access to a quality education. And that access, as we all know, is not available to every community equally. And so that's something that we as a community also struggle with. So what I wanted to share is, as part of our My Brother's Keepers work, we have focused intentionally on this idea of access to education and ensuring that education is available to everyone, particularly a quality education. So in Long Beach, we've launched something called the Long Beach College Promise. And this is a promise to every single member of our community that we're going to ensure that they have access, if they want, to a college and post-high school education. And how are we doing that? And I want to share that with you. First, it's a collaborative approach. It's an approach that we have worked with local companies, our school district, our city prosecutor, who's actually here today, who does great work, as well as our staff. And what does that mean for us? In our education work, that's also tied to our My Brother's Keepers work, we have 3 areas of focus, and I want to share those 3 with you. The first area is this idea that we in every community across this country should be committed to universal preschool. So I want to share something with everybody. I'll tell you that all the academic research, as a academic educator myself, all the academic research is crystal clear. The single best investment that we can all make in our youth, which is what we're talking about this entire time, the single best investment on the educational spectrum that we can make for our youth is actually not in college. It's actually not in ensuring graduation from high school. It's ensuring a quality opportunity for young people by the time they get to kindergarten and the first grade. By the time that our young community, by the time that our sons and daughters and young folks in our cities reach kindergarten and first grade, they are already at a dramatic disadvantage to every other kid that went to preschool. And so the idea of access to a quality early childhood education program or preschool should be a top priority for everyone in this room and our work that we do together. Because we know that particularly kids from communities that are struggling with poverty, we know that parents are working 2 or 3 jobs. We know that parents come home late at night and are tired. They don't have that same opportunity to read and to educate and to sit with their children as maybe other parents who don't have to work. And so the preschool work is incredibly important. In Long Beach, we have just in the last year expanded our preschool seats by 900 seats. Next year, we'll expand by another 500. So our goal is in the next 3 years to achieve universal preschool in the city of Long Beach. And I'll tell you that the pre-K work and the early childhood ed folks should be commended for the work that they're doing. This is the single, in my opinion, most important education issue facing our country and our communities today. So universal pre-K, incredibly important. The second piece of the education work that's really important for our work is the idea of internships and workforce readiness as they're going out of high school. So I'm going to share with you a statistic, which was startling to me when I became mayor. In the city of Long Beach, we have 90,000 public school students in our K-12 system, 90,000. It's a large school system. The city of Boston, and there may be some Boston folks here, as another example, they have 50,000 public school students. The city of Boston, 15,000 of their 50,000 students have an internship or a linked learning opportunity. In Long Beach, when I became mayor, 1,500 of our 90,000 students had an internship. And the norm is the Long Beach model, by the way. So most cities, I bet that all of you represent, our students have less opportunities for internships and for work. And here's a critical connection to that. The students that actually are getting the internships are more likely to come from high schools with more opportunities and communities that traditionally have more access to work. And so let me tell you who's not getting internships. Black and brown kids. And we also know from the research that if you get an internship at a job, an agency, a nonprofit, the chances of you actually getting hired dramatically increase. And so we also know that if we increase internship opportunities, particularly for kids of color, and they can actually prove themselves through their work and not be judged perhaps by the color of their skin or what impressions may have been left on the person doing the hiring, we know that young person has a higher chance of actually succeeding. We've seen it in Long Beach. So we had 1,500 internships in my first year. We had a goal of doubling that in our first 2 years, which we've done. So we now have 3,000 internships throughout the city of Long Beach. And our goal is to increase that in the next 2 years to 5,000 internships. And why is this important? It's important because we know that the kids that are getting these internships, and we see it, look like the diversity of folks that are in this room. And I've talked to so many young people that got that chance at that first job, whether it was at our port or at one of our healthcare companies, and they've been hired. They've been hired and received an opportunity they may not have had they not had a chance to just work and prove themselves in the workplace. So we have this idea of internships, and I tell you that work is incredibly linked to what's happening. Our young people are not getting the same opportunities and access. And the third part of the education spectrum that I want to share with you is this idea of access to community college. We all know that our community colleges across the country, they are the lifeline and access to work for most of our communities. Community colleges have higher proportions of people of color. Community colleges, as we all know, provide whether it's training or workforce development or transfer to a university. We also know it's much more accessible from a cost perspective. But people don't also realize that community colleges, for a lot of families, are not either affordable or accessible, or they're too burdensome. So we've done something in Long Beach that's pretty unique. In fact, there's only maybe 10 to 12 community college systems that are doing this work. And it was inspired, much of it was inspired by the president's call for community college access and free community college. In the city of Long Beach, and this is recent, by the way, as of a year ago, in the city of Long Beach, if you graduated from high school, any of our high schools, remember we told you we had 90,000 students go through our system. If you graduate from one of our high schools, the entire first year in our Long Beach Community College system is 100% free. 100% free. And so our students, we raise the money through private foundations to ensure that, yes, some of them get fee waivers. We understand that from the government, which is great. But a lot of them don't. And so if you graduate high school in Long Beach, you have a seat waiting for you at Long Beach City College, and your entire first year is 100% paid for. And that's a commitment as part of what I'm telling you, the Long Beach College Promise. Because we also know that our students, you go to Long Beach City College, and it's mostly Latinos, African Americans, and some of our Asian community as well. And so that is a commitment, and that's part of our work through MBK. So I share these education goals and initiatives of ours just to remind us that in all the work that we do around social justice and around ensuring that people have opportunity, the partnership with our schools and universities and community college and preschool educators is incredibly important and vital to the work that we do. And if our kids and youth are not receiving a quality education with access to that education, our job becomes incredibly that much more difficult, especially by the time they get to kindergarten and the first grade. I also just want to touch on this idea of, we all know education is important, but we also know that people make mistakes, or that people don't have the same access to the same choices that we all had. Listen, I always tell people, I'm very fortunate to be mayor of my city. I look forward to being mayor as long as my constituents will have me. But I could have, and I've messed up a lot of times in my life. And I am lucky and fortunate that my mistake wasn't amplified in ways that other mistakes are, because maybe they got unlucky. And so we have to make sure that in our communities we're giving our young people, and we know statistically a lot of these our young people are men of color as well, other opportunities. And so I wanted to share, you may have heard about some of this work already, but I have to thank our prosecutor in the city of Long Beach as well, because we have a program called the PATH program, and I'm not sure if he shared with you some of this work. But in the city of Long Beach, this is a program that was just literally launched, I want to say 9 months ago, as part of the My Brother's Keeper work and our social justice work. But in the city of Long Beach, if you are a youth between the ages of 16 to 24, and this is new, and you make a mistake, whether it's and you know, we can all decide what really is a mistake or not a mistake, but the judgment call's made, you break the law, you're caught with some marijuana, you do a small misdemeanor, you've done something irresponsible. In the city of Long Beach, if that happens to you, instead of getting that immediate mark on your record, you have the ability to go through something that we call the PATH program. So you have an option and a choice to make as a young person. And if you don't want that mark on your record, you can go into the PATH program, which essentially is an opportunity for people to do a 6-week class in life skills. It's an opportunity for them to do some community service. There's mental health evaluation as part of that as well to ensure that they're getting the care that they need. There's opportunities for internships and for mentorship. And I can't tell you that that change for us has been dramatic. We expected in our first year, this hasn't even been active for a year, we expected that in our first year, if we could help 100 kids or youth, we'd be successful. We've launched the program 6 months ago, officially for people. We've already had 200 kids sign up. So we're going, thank you. And so we're going to dramatically change the opportunity for all these young people that just made a mistake, like mistakes that we've all made. And so we also know that when you look at our PATH program, and this program in particular, who do you think is taking advantage of this program? Black and brown youth. And folks that are giving another chance. And so I want to commend, I know he's here today, but not every community has an opportunity to have a prosecutor and team that supports this kind of work. So I know Doug Halbert is here somewhere. Can we just give him a big round of applause for doing this? So I'm really proud of this approach, and I want to just end my remarks by telling you all that this is a struggle. We all know that this work, we're not going to wake up a year from now and all of our ideas and hard work all of a sudden has solved all these challenges. These challenges will continue, but it's incredibly important that we strive for equity, and that we fight for social justice. And that we not just throw things and try ideas, but that we also measure them, that we research them, that we ensure that they're actually working, that we invest in evaluation. And so I want to, again, thank you all for inviting me to spend a few minutes with all of you. We're proud in Long Beach to have launched My Brother's Keeper. We have our action plan that just was adopted not that long ago. I took out 2 pieces of our action plan. We actually have multiple sections of our plan. I'm really proud of our plan, and education is one section. The work I described as far as criminal justice reform, including things like banning the box, and the work I talked to you about today with PATH is another part of our My Brother's Keepers plan. But there's also additional parts as well, and I would encourage you, if anyone's interested in our plan, our folks in the city are great resources. Longbeach.gov is our website. I know our plan is accessible, and you can download our plan that includes a lot of what I discussed today with all of you as well. And so I just, again, thank you all for being here. The struggle continues. Let's continue these next few months to support our president as much as possible and remind this community the incredible work that he has done and the doors he's opened for these conversations. So thank you again, and let's continue the work.